Hey everybody, today we're going to be talking about direct quotations and interjections and how we use quotation marks and commas correctly when we do that. So, to start out, a direct quotation gives a speaker's or an author's exact words. They can be used when writing story dialogue, that's what the characters are saying in fictional text, and when quoting from a text to support ideas in an essay or research report. So, when we say cite evidence to support yourself, and you directly quote what the text says, you have to use quotation marks correctly to quote that. You would want to capitalize the first word and use a comma and quotation mark to set off that direct quotation from other words in your sentence. At the end of the direct quotation, you would put a comma or other punctuation inside the quotation mark. So let's look at this example. I am not sure how to say this person's name. Ravindra? We'll go with that. Ravindra said, I can recognize cougar tracks. He was on a hike with his friends Paula and Bethany. So when Ravindra said, this is your words. This is you saying that this person, Ravindra, is about to say something. So that is not from the text. That's from you. That's why that part is not in quotes. But you're saying Ravindra said, you need a comma, then start the quote, cite exactly what that text has said directly, put the punctuation inside the end quote. Look at that. Do you see where that punctuation mark is? It is inside the end part of the quote. Then you can see he was on a hike with his friends Paula and Bethany is a complete, total different sentence. And that is from your words. So that is not from the text. The only thing you are directly quoting is what's directly from the text, and it goes inside the quote marks. Okay. Now, what about interjections? Well, an interjection is almost kind of like, in my opinion, sometimes it's like an interruption and it's like a one word kind of thing. So, to show a speaker's strong emotion or to make a character's voice more lively and real, including an interjection such as, hey, or wow, and then punctuate it with a comma or an exclamation point, depending on if you are wanting to just state it and move on or state it and continue your sentence. So, for example, here we see, hey, I see a cougar print, shouted Bethany. Well, notice that this word hey is the interjection, while the person continuing their thought did not want to end completely, so they put a comma and continued the rest of their thought. That is grammatically correct because interjections can be thrown into the beginning of the sentence when they are this one word phrase like hey or wow. So that is just an example. Let's take some time right here together to see what we need to do if we need to put direct quotation marks around something or put in an interjection with a comma or an exclamation mark. So it says here, Sam asked, are you sure it's a cougar print? Well, first of all, here's what needs to happen. When Sam asked, I'm going to go comma because I'm about to turn this into a direct quote, and that is a capitalized A. And I'm going to put my little handy dandy quote marks. And Sam asked, are you sure it's a cougar print? Now you have to think about this. Where does the end quotation mark go? Well, friends, remember what we said earlier. It goes on the outside of the punctuation. That quotation mark, no, that question mark needs to be inside the quotation mark, not on the outside. Okay. Now let's look at number 2. It says, Belinda replied. Well, what is Belinda about to say? Well, she's about to say, it looks just like the one in the book. Well, Belinda said that. That's what a character said. That's a direct quote. So if we have Belinda replied, that's almost like Belinda said. Replied is just another fancy word to describe how she said it. She replied. So, comma, this I needs to be capitalized because it's the beginning word of Belinda's sentence, and we need those handy dandy quote marks right there. Okay, it looks just like one in the book. Okay, period, but then a end quotation mark. Are we getting better at this? I sure hope so. All right, now pause this video and I want you to try this one on your own. Feel free to write it down Try something and then press play, and I will tell you if you're right or wrong. Now, this says, wow, we have to tell people about this, exclaimed Andre. Well, first of all, Andre puts in an interjection right here. He says, wow, we need to exclamation point that thing because that's an exciting interjection. That's like, whoa, or wow. That could be a sentence all by itself because it's an interjection. Now, we have to understand Andre is saying this. Andre is a character. This means that this is Andre's direct quotation. So we need those bad boys right there. We need that quote mark right there. And then we say, wow, exclamation mark. But guess what? Andre kept on going. He said, we have to tell people about this. All right. Well, this is a brand new sentence from Andre. So this needs to be capitalized. We have to tell people about this. Well, period. He finished talking. And then what do we need? Oh, well, guess what? Actually, because they put exclaimed Andre on the back end, we actually just need a comma here because we don't want to randomly end that sentence and then randomly tack in on the back exclaimed Andre. Exclaimed Andre is not its own complete sentence. Okay, so we can't put a period right here. We actually need to just put a comma, end the quote, and then we would say exclaimed Andre, period. That's very important. Notice how these up at the front, this one was at the back. So if they were up at the front and we ended with punctuation, like an ending sentence type punctuation. But here it was at the back end, exclaimed Andre. That's the same way as saying said Andre. Okay. So we had to continue it with a comma, but in the quote. Now pause again and try this one, and then come back and I'll tell you if you're right or wrong. Now, number 4, I will take a photo of the print, said Nell. Well, first of all, Nell is saying something, and Nell's a character, so this happens to be what do you know? A direct quotation. Well, Nell starts with, I will. Okay, well, Nell's saying this, so we need, of course, our quotations at the beginning. Well, this I is already capitalized. Great, because it's a subject pronoun, and it deserves to be capitalized, but it's also the first word at the beginning of the sentence. Lovely. I will take a photo of the print. Period. She stopped talking. Okay, her sentence is over. But guess what? Do we need a period? Well, if you were listening, maybe like a minute ago, we said if this ending part of how they said who said it is at the end, we cannot just slap a period there because said Nell is not a complete sentence. We can't just end that first part and just say said Nell all by itself. Absolutely not. We actually need to put a comma and then end the quote and then said Nell, period. Are we tracking today? I hope you're gaining something because when we start writing our own narrative stories and you come up with characters with awesome sauce, dialogue, and characters talking, I'm expecting that you're going to start using some of this new learned skills of how to directly quote and create dialogue for your characters. Go practice in your workbook. The pages are listed in the Google Classroom. I will see you in the next lesson. Peace.